Roger called me this week and he said that he wasn't sure if he'd be able to make it Wednesday night, and he didn't show up Wednesday night. And then I talked to him later on in the week, and he said, I'm just not going to be able to make it over. So he asked me if I would prepare something, and I told him I'd be glad to. So I hope you enjoy what is going to be said here, but I know it meant a lot to me. Because in my earlier life, about 36 years ago, I was struggling with my faith. I need to put my glasses on. What happened was I stopped reading the Bible, I stopped praying, and I stopped going to church. There was a lot of things going on that I was very disappointed in. I was going down the wrong path. Wouldn't listen to those friends who had tried to help me, and was very disappointed in the way things turned out, no matter how hard I tried to make things go right. I started to drink more, which made things worse. And after a few years in doing this, my wife said to me, Stephen and Shelley, which were my children, I think they were aged 9 and 6, wanted to know why I wasn't going to church anymore. So after thinking what they had said, something happened to me. I realized that I was being a terrible example to them and to anybody that was around me. The next Sunday, I got myself dressed and went to church with the family. That's when I heard Roger's message for the first time. I could not stop thinking and pondering on what he had to say. I heard the message and started to read the Bible again. Then about a year later, I started feeling that my faith was growing, but I still had a lot of way to go. A few years ago, probably more than a few, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I read about 5 reasons on how to develop a strong faith. A strong faith that gives you the ability to push through hard times, helps you move in new directions, overcomes fear, help others who are struggling, and enjoying an overall better quality of life. But how do you develop a strong faith? How does our faith grow? So this morning I want to share with you 5 ways you can cultivate a stronger faith. First, you need to read the Word. The Bible is a book that is intended to produce faith in you. At the end of the Gospel of John 20:31, we read this: "But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name." When you read the scriptures, you are taking in truth about what God is like and what he has done. It is a testimony to his character and work in this world. Paul wrote in Romans 10:17, "Consequently, faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word about Christ." If you want to strengthen your faith, you have to have a regular diet of reading the Bible. I highly recommend a reading plan that will allow you to read through the Bible in a year. There are many options on how to do this, both online and on your own. The second one is put the word into practice. This is one I have the hardest to do. But the Bible is full of instructions and commands for every area of our lives: relationships, money, sexuality, temptation, worry, anger, and fear. Its testimony is simple: obey it and you will find life. Jesus put it this way in Matthew 7:24-25. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on a rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. When you put the words of the Bible into practice, you will see your life slowly starting to change, and your faith will grow in the progress. You will find that doing life God's way, simple works, it works. If you do things in God's way, it works. The third thing would be surround yourself with people of faith. Another thing it's hard to do sometimes. The world is big. The world around us is large. The people we even in our neighborhood, some are faithful, some are unfaithful, some are unbelievers, some are believers. But one of my favorite sayings regarding relationships is this: show me your friends and I will show you your future. Jim Rohn famously said, you are the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. It's simply a fact of life that you and I will become like the people we stand around, the ones we go around, the ones we live around. King Solomon put it in this way in Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. This principle is either helping you or hurting you when it comes to your faith. Take a moment to think about the people who you spend your time with. Do they have a stronger faith than you? If not, your faith will not grow. You and I must get along around people who believe in God and believe that He is at work in this world. Their faith will rub off on us. The fourth thing, though, I want to mention was read great books. Apart from the Bible, great books have been primary source of building my faith. Authors like C.S. Lewis, Max Lucado, John MacArthur, and Lee Strobel have been a great for my faith that helps me grow stronger. These authors have explained the scriptures and the spiritual life in a way that makes sense to me. Through them, I have learned about God. I've learned about my soul, how to care for my soul, how to pray, how to be alone with God, and how to love God, how to trust God, and how to find peace and joy. Paul told Timothy this in 2 Timothy 4:13. When you come, bring the cloak that I left with Carpus at Trios, and my scrolls, especially the parchments. This shows that in addition to the scriptures, Paul also valued the writings of other mentors in the faith. I just finished reading the book Rediscovered Church. That's the one that Becky made available last week for whoever wants to read it. I recommend it. It's a great read. And the last thing I want to talk about is the fifth one, and that's trust God in the pain. I believe that God uses difficulties and pain to stretch and grow our faith. He allows us to go through the fire so that we can learn to trust Him. In 2 Corinthians 1:9, Paul explains this idea. Indeed, we felt we had received a sentence of death, but this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God, who raises the dead. Paul doesn't say what the difficulty was, but just that they had lost all hope of survival. And I've been there. Then he adds that God allowed this to happen to bring them to the end of trusting in themselves. Dallas Willard commented once that God's address is at the end of your rope. The truth is that God never wastes pain. It is there to grow us, to stretch us, and to teach us that God can be trusted. So in closing, I'm going to leave you with some questions to ponder on, or maybe they will even bother you. The first question: how often do you read God's Word? Second one: do you deliberately try to follow what God's Word says? Third, do your closest friends have a strong faith? Fourth, what books do you need to start reading to grow your faith? Fifth, what pain are you going through right now that you need to trust with God? So, I want you to please take these questions seriously, and I want you to pray about them. I have faith that God will help you to answer them truthfully and to give you the courage to do what is right in growing your faith stronger in the Lord.